This is the pecan pie starter that I made last year. Thank you for joining me. I'm Andrea with 80 Lynn Speaks, Cooks, and Plans. This and gardens. This is the pecan pie starter that I made last year. And I'm going to put a picture up here to tell you everything that I included in the pecan pie starter, including the Jack Daniel's honey, whiskey, I think, and also the bourbon infused maple syrup. I used all of my maple syrup, a lot of my maple syrup, and I also used some molasses, everything you would use to cook a pecan pie. Now, at this point, I'm having a problem. I want to tell you how to reconstitute this and make it into a pie. I made 2 of them already, so today I'm going to show you where I made some of my mistakes and what I did. I also made extra syrup, but as it turns out, it created candy on the bottom, which tells me I put too much sugar, because I used brown sugar only. I did not use white sugar. I used fresh, real honey. Which you can see at the bottom, I do not have enough syrup or any kind, and I don't use corn syrup. It's all molasses and maple syrup, which really, this is a stick of melted butter in here. Let's go back though. What I discovered from my last one is I need to soak this or start it in the microwave in hot water. You cannot put a cold jar, in hot water. You have to raise the temperature together. So what I decided to do is do that, and you can see that that loosens it up a lot better. However, again, at the bottom, there are chunks of actual candy pieces, not just syrup. So when I made this, I can go ahead and pour the part that's not the candy pieces so you can see, to see exactly what's happening here. I'm not happy about this, but this is a learning lesson. So what I'm writing down all of my notes to make sure that I put in here that I do add 1 stick of butter. The last time I did it, I did only a half a stick of butter and 3 eggs. I'm lowering the number of eggs I'm using this time, and I have over here waiting. The eggs need to be at room temperature. The pie crust and the stove needs to be at 350 degrees. We are walking through this step by step, and I'll give you the exact steps at the end so you'll understand. But right now, let's focus on the testing part for the second time. This is where we are. We're having to warm the container, warm the mason jar. So I'm writing these notes down. We warm the mason jar. So you bring it to temperature in cold water, and you bring to temperature together to be able to get it out, because you will not be able to get it out of the jar without warming it at the same time. And I don't think this has enough. Now, you always take these silver tops off. Please take the silver tops off. And what I use to take the silver tops off is a jar lifter made for the canner. Side note, I had to bring this up because you cannot just throw this willy-nilly into the microwave and melt that. You must do it in a bath of water. Because I got lazy, this is burned. It is now burned, and it's hot, so you can't pick it up with anything other than a towel, okay? And you can't sit it on a plate. But there is it looks like molasses. Basically, I think I made molasses. So let me see. Maybe I did make molasses. No, that's candy. And it's burned. It is absolutely rendered useless now. I may even have to boil this container to get this out of here. Do not do what I did and try to put this in the microwave, because you just exacerbate the problem. You need to put liquor in here and stir it as you go. You can't take this syrup and put it in the microwave and heat it up. You must put liquor in it to break down this candy. So we're gonna put that to the side. That's useless. That is rendered useless now until I get ready to open that syrup, which I won't be doing that because now I'm going to be testing some other things. And I never use this cheap honey, but I am 100% out of good honey. Honey will create candy. Molasses will create candy. So I have to be careful to make sure I put enough butter in here. So let's go ahead and move this to the side so you can see me pouring more of the pecans in here. This is what I have going on. I'm trying to make sure I do not pull the candy from the bottom because you'll feel the crunching. There's that juice. That's what I want right there. I needed that. And then the rest of it you can see is more candy. You can hear it. It's candy. Okay. You don't want all that in there because it'll show up in there. Now I can put butter in here and loosen it up and make it more like toffee. But putting it in that hot water really made a big difference. So what I'm going to do, you can see that candy. Look at that. See it clear? I'm going to take it out if I can get a piece of it. There it is. That is 100% candy. I can't do anything with that. That's a Jolly Rancher. So I'm going to set that to the side because that's a good Jolly Rancher. It tastes really good. And here's another one. I can't put this in here. That is not pie ingredient. But that is awesome candy. I'll go back to my original recipe and see where I messed up. But it will melt in the pie. However, I noticed the last time it had crunchy parts. So I'm going to skip all of this and get these big candy pieces out of here because they don't break down. Get those out of there. I'll put it in a Ziploc bag, and when I have a taste for a piece of candy, there's a lot of little crystals, candies in there. So I'm just gonna, that's just gonna be candy, you know, just pieces of candy with pecans in it. There it is right there. There's more. Look at that. So going back to what I did before, this is going to help me to know what to do. So I make sure I go through here and make sure there's no candy. I see there are candy pieces in here. This is just my mistake, a learning process. This was my first time. It tastes so good. You can smell the bourbon in here. But now I need more syrup. I don't have enough syrup. Look at that. That's too dry. So I'm going to put more butter. I have a little bit of butter here. And I have a container that I melted some more butter. I'm not going to use all the melted butter. I'm just going to see what happens. I'm going to put that in the microwave now. I can't really use the microwave until I clean this off because that's what I ended up with. So now I'm going to just scrape that off. See if I can get it off. I had to let it cool off first. I might have to run it under warm water, so I'll come back. I'm getting the pie crust out of the oven now, and I'll come back and then we'll pour this in. All right, I wanted to come back real quick. In the interim, while I wait for the pie, I fill this up in the water. I'm going to go ahead and go back in here and put this inside the microwave to loosen this up, or just run some more hot water on it. Actually, I'll run hot water on it because I don't want to boil this over. Okay, well, this did really well in the hot water. So in order to save time and not let my other stuff burn, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next thing. All right, I'm out of luck. So I'm going to have to just use honey. I don't want the honey to be too, because it could cause the candy effect. Okay, almost need more butter, but let's just do 1 egg this time. The last time I used 2 eggs, so we're gonna go with 1 egg this time because I don't want this to turn into a candy bowl. It did not turn into candy last time, so I used 3 eggs last time for this. So it usually is more, this is going to be a really thick pie. It's going to be a pie that has more pecans than anything. But for now, we're gonna do eggs. I really want that syrup, but this is the best I'm gonna do for now. I wanna show you how this is working. And I don't like that organic raw honey, but we're gonna go with what we have. Honey turns into sugar. But this one might not, because it might just be syrup. Oh well. Product of Brazil. So now let's go ahead and pull our pie. And I like to put the pie in the oven just for a little while. And do that. Just to get it started. I should have had it in there already. All right, so let's talk about this. Today, we did the warm mason jar in cold, bring it together, bring it hot together. Okay, and for the syrup, we need to have liquor. We need to have used liquor, which is, I used, like you see on the side here, so you can see, I used the Jack Daniels. Try not to be too free with this, because it depends. It's kind of like using bread pudding and you have rum sauce. That's pretty much what I was making with this. Now I can open this and use it on the pie after the fact on top of the whipped cream. It's just the problem is the candy in the bottom, you need to reconstitute that and make it into syrup. And in order to do that, you need to have the Jack Daniels and some butter to turn that back into a liquid format. Okay, and then the liquid that the other one I used maple syrup, not corn syrup, maple syrup. And I cooked it, then I used some brown sugar to create this, and it was not a lot of brown sugar. And that brown sugar also, along with the maple syrup, and I used honey, and I think the honey and brown sugar created the candy. I don't know enough about that to help you know what that did, but this is the reconstitution of this pie. The next time I make it, I'll be able to know. I know this is perfect for the pie I want to make. I'm not going to put another egg in here, because the last time I had an egg in here, it became a soufflé, and we do not want soufflé. But this starter should have had this much pecan and probably a third worth of syrup. Right now it only has, wow, barely any syrup. So this is a very pecan rich pie. So let me come back after I get the pie out of the oven. All right, so let's go ahead and take this pie out. Oh, this pie crust is perfect. If I could get this out of here. I don't have gloves. All right, let's go ahead and do this thing. Put this in here, 350 degrees. Oh, sorry about the movement. It's starting to set because I am in a chilly house. So there you go. It would normally run really well, so I'm having to spread it out. I got a feeling it's gonna bubble up really nicely, and it's gonna be thick. It's not gonna be one of those candied pies that y'all are used to. So now I'm gonna put it in and let it do its thing for probably about 30 minutes. I'm gonna watch it really close. All right, so we'll come back. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Let's go ahead and put it into the oven. All right, so 350 degrees. Middle of the rack. Awesome. So now we're going to just set the timer. So set the timer to 30 minutes and start getting this stuff cleaned up, and I'll come back in 30 minutes. Well, look, I wanted to show you what happened when I heated up the syrup in the microwave without it having water. This was on top, and it melted the cover that goes inside the microwave. So this is permanently damaged. You know what happens when you have bubbling sugar. So that's what it is. I'm going to go ahead and continue rinsing this off while we wait for the pie. Okay, another follow-up. Okay, so that came clean, and I'm pretty sure I better hurry up and go ahead and clean this because it's starting to get set up. The candy, you're just going to have some candy. Crystal candy pieces. I'll put those in some Ziploc, or not really, but more like foil, so I can have a little piece of candy whenever I feel like it. I'll probably just put this all together in there. So let's go ahead and finish cleaning up. We have 10 more minutes on the pie. Let's take a look at it. All right, that's looking really good. I think it's almost done. All right, let's go ahead and take the pie out of the oven. I think this is really perfect. And no, I do not have gloves yet. So let's go ahead and put this up here. There we go. What I see is the bubbling of the everything. I'm used to a pie looking like this, but if you want, you can always put some pecan pieces, but you got to be careful about this because it sucked the juice out. That's why I only put a little bit, but that's it. I don't know what happened to this side. I think it drew up and it's still bubbling. Look at that. So it's going to take a while to cool off. And I'll come back and do the test. It's still jelly, which is what I want. So let's see what we get. Okay, we're going to go ahead and test this. All right, this is going to be really good. All right, see what we have. I might be doing it a little bit too early. I started cutting it sooner than it should have been right there. All right, let's see what we have. Ooh. Oh, yes. That is a good pie. That looks good. It looks really good. It's very good. It is thick with pecan. I am happy with that. It's much better than it was before my first try. So now this is how it's going to be. I'm going to roll the credits with the information there. Let's go ahead and get a fork. And we're going to taste it. Here we go. Now that's a pie. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Oh my goodness. That is a pie. That's what I was hoping for. It's not dry. There's not too much eggs. I did not want it to be soufflé. Oh man, this is awesome. Come on now, let me get a little piece. Okay, so if I were to do this again, I would definitely not put as much butter. Because I did put 1.5 sticks of butter. So I'd probably put 1.25 sticks. And what else did I add to it? I added a little honey. So I may not put honey. We have several more times to try it out. But I definitely have the perfect pecan starter. Well, it's a wonderful pecan starter. It tastes magnificent. It's the Reconstituting that I have to work on, but I mean, this is, to me, I could leave it exactly the way it is. I'm going to put the information on how to reconstitute it for anybody that I give it to as a gift. This is not a very nice presentation. This is called home cooked. It tastes good. Okay. Now I got to give it away, because I can't eat all this. Too much to eat. All right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you for checking in with AD Lynn Speaks, Cooks, Plans, Sews, and I sew on my other channel. But I wanted to show you this. I do my canning, my gardening, my planning, and everything on this channel. Come back for other things, and I shall see you guys later. Have a good day, evening, and afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. Bye.